A proposal arrives 5 minutes after an argument. A contract lands after a frightening drive. You open a price comparison while carrying sadness from a phone call. The decision looks new. The emotional conditions inside it may not be. We picture judgment as a clean room. Facts enter, reasons are compared, and a choice comes out. But emotion can change the weights while those reasons are still being assembled. Psychologists distinguish emotion that belongs to a decision from emotion that comes from somewhere else. Anxiety about an unsafe investment is tied to the choice. Irritation from a delayed train is incidental when you later evaluate a colleague. This is not mainly a lesson about controlling a feeling. The question is whether the feeling belongs to this decision and whether it is changing what looks risky, valuable, urgent, or certain. One classic line of research compared fear and anger. Both are unpleasant, but they did not produce one general negative mood effect. Across naturally occurring and experimentally induced states, fear was associated with more pessimistic risk estimates and more risk-averse choices. Anger with more optimistic estimates and more risk-seeking. The researchers linked those opposite patterns to appraisals of certainty and control. Fear often involves uncertainty and low control. Anger can involve more certainty and control. The facts may stay fixed while their weights change. These are group-level findings, not a personality test. They do not mean an angry person always takes risks or a fearful person always avoids them. Context, intensity, incentives, culture, and individual differences still matter. Another experiment induced sadness or disgust in an unrelated situation, then asked participants to make buying or selling decisions involving real money. The earlier emotion carried into the later valuation. In the original study, sadness lowered the price participants asked to sell an item, but raised what they would pay to acquire it. Disgust lowered both. Two emotions with the same negative valence were associated with different economic patterns, but influence is not finality. A pre-registered 2023 study with 403 participants supported higher choice prices after sadness, relative to disgust and neutral conditions. It did not reproduce the expected disgust pattern. The careful conclusion is narrower than a life rule. Incidental emotions can sometimes alter later judgments. Specific emotions may differ, and some proposed patterns hold up better than others. Imagine reading a brief email from your manager after a humiliating conversation elsewhere. The email may be genuinely ambiguous, but earlier shame can make one interpretation feel complete before the alternatives receive equal attention. Or imagine considering a purchase after bad news. The product did not cause the sadness, yet relief or change may become more valuable. That does not prove the purchase is wrong. It reveals one extra variable. Start an audit with 2 questions. What feeling responds directly to this choice? What feeling was already present before the choice appeared? One emotion can answer both, so the purpose is not perfect classification. It is to expose possible carryover. Then, name the source concretely. I am still angry from the meeting. I am unsettled by the drive. I am sad after the call. Context is more useful than declaring yourself irrational. Next, inspect the appraisal. Does everything seem unusually dangerous, unusually controllable, urgently replaceable, or suddenly not worth keeping? Ask which part comes from current evidence and which part may be the emotional lens. For a consequential choice, write the criteria before the final comparison: cost, reversibility, evidence, time pressure, and who carries the downside. A written standard cannot remove emotion, but it can keep the standard visible. When delay is available, compare the decision again after the emotional context changes. The later state is not automatically objective. It is a second measurement. If the choice shifts sharply, that shift is information. When delay is impossible, reduce the commitment. Choose the smallest reversible step, ask for missing facts, or separate what must be decided now from what can wait. These are structure tools, not guaranteed debiasing. The audit does not make real harm imaginary. A boundary can be necessary even on a bad day. Ask what action fits the present behavior and what intensity may have been imported from another room. Laboratory averages cannot calculate one person's next decision, and no checklist guarantees better judgment. In immediate danger, prioritize safety. For urgent medical, legal, or financial choices, use qualified support and reliable procedures. The goal is not a sterile decision without feeling. It is to know which emotional information belongs to the choice and which may be carrying over. Locate the feeling, trace its source, inspect the weight, structure the choice. Before the next high-stakes decision, ask one extra question: what emotion walked into the room with me? The point is not to erase it, it is to identify which room it came from and what weight it brought into this one.